Hey, welcome back to the Book Writers Club. Thank you for being here. So glad you're with me. And today I want to talk about motivation. What motivates you to keep writing and continuing on your work journey, on what you're working on? So if you're working on your memoir, you're working on your poetry, you're trying to make a book, sometimes you might put it off and you don't get back to it. What can you do to make yourself stick to it and keep going forward with it? Sorry about that. All right, so think about it. What we're motivated by is pleasure. We want to avoid pain. So maybe your writing process is painful for you and you want to make it more pleasurable. So what you could do is find things that make it pleasurable. You could go outside and write. You could go to a cafe and write. You can spend time on a certain day and write, like a certain Sunday or Saturday. So that day is your day to write. You don't have to do it every day, but you pick a certain day that makes you happy and makes you feel like you're not stressed out and like full of like things to do. But when you set aside a specific time where you can focus and just relax, that is your specific special time. You schedule it. Also, have some tea or some chocolate nearby, or play a little bit of classical music in the background. It doesn't have to be a boring experience. It can be fun. It can be pleasurable. So make your writing time pleasurable. Add something that gives it a little pizzazz. Maybe you want to write in red ink or pink ink or purple or green ink. Change it up, switch it up, make it a little bit more interesting. You don't want to make it a suffering process. You want to make it enjoyable. And also, you might even want to gamify. Gamify is when you make it a game. You give yourself a reward for reaching a certain goal or accomplishing something that you want to accomplish. So make it fun, okay? And then also understand your own intrinsic needs. What are those intrinsic needs that you have, and what is motivating you to write this book? What is it? Sometimes we have motivations for significance or meaningfulness or contribution to others. Is it meaningful? Is it contribution that you want to give to others, or is it significance that you want for yourself? Whichever one it is, pick it and really think about what would it be like to do this, to have a contribution or to have significance, and really just ponder about it and make that your motivation to continue to keep going and to finish. And then also, you want to think about the layers of who you are. We as human beings, we have many different layers, just like, Shrek the movie. Ogres have layers. Well, humans have layers too. And humans, we all have things where we have an action, and then under that we have a behavior, and under that we have a belief, and under that we have attitudes, under that we have values, and then under that we have ourself, right? So layer by layer by layer by layer, from you starting with yourself as the core, and then you have your values, your core values, which leads to your attitudes and your beliefs, which leads to your behaviors and your actions. So what is it that you believe about what you're doing, which will impact your actions and your behaviors? So you can't change a behavior without changing the underlying layers, which are your beliefs and your attitudes about what you're doing. And you can't change your beliefs and your attitudes unless you really think about your values. So let's think about values. What are your values? What is it that you believe? When I first did my first book, my value was I wanted to have a book that I could give back to God as like, this is my creative gift to God, because it was about God. It was a spiritual book, and I said I'm going to do my first book as a spiritual book because I want to give that as something like a tribute to God in my life. And so that was my value. What's your value? What do you value? Is it for your kids? Is it for your past self? Is it for that little girl inside of you? Is it for that little man inside of you? Whoever it is. Is it for your husband or your wife? Is it for your family? What are the values that promotes your energy to do this work? Because it's a sacred work. And when you really attach it to your values, you're going to have so much more motivation. And once you get that value in your mind, you're going to skyrocket to getting your goals and your your project done. You're gonna skyrocket to knowing you're gonna get this finished, and you're gonna be powerful because you have a reason. Your values give you your why. Your why is so important. Simon Sinek says, know your why. Always have a why for what you do, because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So what's your why? And that's all for that. Knowing your layers, getting to that deeper layer of values, because behavior of just working, writing, and sitting down to do the work, it only comes when you feel like the value of what you're about to give is very important. So think about your values and go inner. Don't just work about writing. Think about the inner value. The value is so important. And that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you later on another video.